This is not how it's going to look permanently. This is not, no.
Today I'm going to be repotting one of Ross's plants because Ross's plants have just moved in, as has Ross. We've been really busy over the last few weeks making some pretty major changes to the flat to accommodate for Ross and all his stuff. And I'm super excited to be able to actually show you what we've been up to today because we've taken on some pretty major projects and I'm just really proud of what we've achieved and I think it looks amazing and I've been so excited to show you it. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And we've been vlogging the whole process from start to finish of kind of putting things together, transforming different spaces, kind of just doing little bits and bobs. So I thought the easiest way to do this was to sit down, do some planty stuff with you guys, talk you through what we've been doing, show you a little bit, and then give you a tour. So yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So obviously with Ross moving a lot of his plants in, his plants have had to acclimate to my home, which is a very different environment to where they came from. And this plant here is a Tecrostar zebrina, and this is one, it's actually growing, I'll talk about that in a minute, but it's growing in a very bizarre way. But this is one that Ross has had at his office for the last kind of 6 months, I think. And it's been doing really well for him. And since it's been here in the last kind of week and a half, it's taken a turn for the worst. It's losing lots of leaves at the top. And I thought I would just take a look at the roots and see what's going on. And he did also pick up some other sections of Tecrostar zebrina at the recent plant swap. So I thought if I was able to repot this one, that I might potentially pot them all up together. I'm not quite sure. We'll figure that out as we go. But yeah, very quickly before I start kind of doing the show and tell of what we've been doing. With this plant, it's very bizarre. So the Tecrostar zebrina typically, from what I've seen, I'm not a massive zebrina fan, but from what I've seen, always kind of looks like that. It's very purpley on the underside and then very silvery on top. And Ross's one that he's had at his office has just gone almost bright purple all over both sides. And I don't know what the reason for this is. So if any of you know, please do let us know because I'm a little bit baffled by it. But Ross moving in. So as I say, I wasn't quite sure how to do the format of this video because we've just kind of been filming everything and we've got loads of time-lapsey bits and I was like, I could just put it in a video and you could just watch it all coming together. But I think it's more fun if I kind of talk you through it because initially when we started talking about living together, we were like, obviously, although my flat is a lovely size for one person, it is me, 300 plants and a very big dog. And bearing in mind that Ross's new job means that he is also now going to be working from home, we were like, okay, we're going to need to find some ways to create space because it's a 1-bedroom flat. Apart from the bathroom, it's only got 2 rooms and that's actually not that much space for 2 people when you think about it long term. So yeah, we just kind of started throwing ideas about of like how we could kind of like create office spaces for Ross, how we could create separate spaces as well, because I think that's super important. Like both of us are the sorts of people that quite enjoy our own space as well as being together. So we wanted to make sure that that was a thing. And when we were away in Mallorca, one morning I woke up I had some weird dreams when we were in Mallorca, but I woke up one morning and I'd had this dream that we built a giant bunk bed and that Ross's desk was underneath the bunk bed and then we slept on top. And we kind of had a bit of a giggle about this when we were on holiday. And then we started thinking like, okay, like could this be a thing? Could we actually do this? We kind of looked on Pinterest, we found loads of potential ideas. And because my flat does have very high ceilings, because I'm a top floor flat, we were like, okay, well, maybe something like this actually is possible. And so we threw about loads of ideas. We thought about maybe trying to build a bed on top of those like IKEA blocks that you can get, but nothing kind of seemed like it was going to be the right thing. Like it just, I don't know, like we were like, is that going to be sturdy? Would I want Yoli walking underneath it? Does it feel safe? yada, yada, yada. And we just kind of stumbled across this website, this Spanish website, which I'm pretty sure was called Tecrostar. I'm not entirely sure. I'll link it down below if anyone's interested. But they basically sell lightweight mezzanine floors for like residential use. They're not for commercial use, and they're not structural, like you don't have to bolt them into walls or anything. They're essentially just like a ginormous like floor on stilts. And so we did lots of measuring up and lots of talking about it, and then we bit the bullet and we were like, okay, you know what, let's just order one. And so we ordered this mezzanine floor, and I think it took about 3 weeks to arrive. And oh my God, there was drama. There was drama with it when it was arriving. Also, by the way, I'm getting distracted. The roots, from what I can see, are looking okay. Maybe not as pale as they could be. They don't smell rotty, so I'm just going to get a bit of soil off and have a proper look at them. But yeah, there was drama with the mezzanine floor, basically. I mean, it was a very big package we were expecting, and firstly, they lost it. It arrived in the UK, and we got a notification saying that the package had been lost. I'd waited in for like 4 days straight to try and receive this package. And then eventually when they found it on the day of delivery, we were told that I got a call from the delivery driver, and he basically said to me that because they don't usually deliver to a residential address, did I have a forklift to like take this off the truck myself? And that he wouldn't be able to help me, basically. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, no, I don't have a forklift. And I basically just had to put my foot down and say, this is sold as a residential item, therefore I'm afraid you're going to need to help me out, because I am a small person living by myself. I'm not that strong. And luckily he was very understanding, and he did help me unload it. However, I was responsible for getting it all the way up the stairs to my top floor flat. So that was interesting. So obviously once it actually arrived and we had it, we were just desperate to start building it. And I'm sure you guys know what my room looked like before, because I filmed in it for videos and stuff like that, but I'll pop some clips in of what it looks like just so that you can compare and kind of see the process as it comes together. So yeah, Ross got to my house, I think at about 3 o'clock that day, and we were like, do you think we'd be able to get it up in an evening? And that might have been a little bit ambitious, but we decided we were going to give it a go. So we just tried to clear my room as much as we possibly could, take down the bed, all that sort of stuff.
We're building a new floor.
To make more space for us.
For me.
For you.
For me.
For you. Ross is a very big man.
Yeah, you can't tell, but I'm very big.
And then we could actually get started on building the mezzanine, which I just want to say neither of us had ever done anything like this before. But it actually went together. Once we got the hang of it, once we kind of figured out what we needed to do, it actually went together very easily, and it didn't take us that long to do.
This is the part where all the ladies swoon at how manly he is, building with his hands. That's right, ladies. This is what a real man looks like. Black pizza now.
And bless Yoli, we had to keep shutting her in the living room because she doesn't deal particularly well with change anyway. She is a very nervy rescue, and she was just so confused by what was going on through there. So we decided that it was best that she shouldn't really have been in that room anyway, but that she didn't see what was going on. And then we've just tried to kind of ease her into the fact that that room's changed gradually, and she is getting used to it now. So yeah, as I say, our aim was to get it all built so that we could actually sleep on it the first night. But like I've already said, I think that was just a little bit ambitious considering we started quite late in the afternoon. So we didn't quite manage to sleep on it the first night.
Well, we're being grubby because we're grubby.
We're grubby.
Also, typically that stands up.
That fell over in the night and gave us a heart attack. We thought the mezzanine floor
Not that Claire remembers.
was falling down. No, I don't.
Claire was mean to me in her sleep as always.
I can feel my face filling with blood.
Okay, what's after supper?
Working out how we were going to do the boards was a little bit of a headache because originally what we thought we'd be able to do is just kind of have all of the top boarded out and be able to climb up the sides. But because of how the pitch of my roof is, it basically just didn't allow us enough space to be able to get into bed. So we had to do some cutting of boards and we did figure it out eventually, but it was a little bit of a headache at first. We also decided to paint the bottom of the boards white. This was actually Ross's idea, and originally I wasn't keen on the idea at all. I thought it looked quite cool, woody, but actually now that it's been done, I 100% agree with him because it looks much more like ceiling. Like when you walk into that room now, it almost doesn't look like you've got, I don't know, like a bit of scaffolding there, which is what it kind of felt like before. So yeah, painting the boards was definitely a good idea. Once it was all up, that's when it got kind of really exciting because it felt like, I mean, we just had this huge open space to play with, so we could kind of rejig furniture, think about where we wanted things to go. We'd had some ideas before we did it, but obviously sometimes things in practice aren't the same as they are in your head. So yeah, we just kind of shifted about some things, tried furniture in different places and figured out what would work best.
This is not how it's going to look permanently. This is not, no.
And although I absolutely love my propagation shelves that I'd set up in the corner of that room, it kind of made sense to move them so that we could put Ross's office space there and just kind of create separate spaces with his being on that side of the room, if that makes sense, so that then if I want to go in and do planty stuff during the day, I don't have to kind of walk through his space to get there. So yeah, I ordered some shelves on Amazon. These are a type of shelf that I've used before and I got on very well with. They were very easy to put together the first time I did it. However, I was gonna time lapse this bit, but I gave up in the end. I had an absolute nightmare building these shelves. Honestly, I need to stop the camera because this is doing my ficus. Honestly, they drove me absolutely crazy, and I did figure out in the end it's because I wasn't sent all of the correct parts, but I didn't realise that at the time. I also took the opportunity to do a massive clean of my grow cabinet in that room because it hadn't been cleaned in a very, very, very long time. So that side of the room was just kind of left feeling sparkling and clean and new. It just feels really lovely, that area of the room now, and before I feel like I just wasn't putting it to particularly good use. It makes it feel brighter as well because I've got all my grow lights there. In fact, I'll put a tour in so that you can see more of that area. So this is what my little grow zone is currently looking like. It's kind of mirrored how it was on the other side of the room, but I feel like it just looks kind of cleaner and neater here. The one thing that has happened in the time that we've been moving Ross in is I have fallen majorly behind with plant care in this room. I had my big plant care day in the other room and I got on top of everything there, but I have got a lot of stuff in my cabinet, and to be fair, just kind of all around this room that is needing quite a lot of attention. But yeah, coming over to these shelves here, as I've already said, building them was not straightforward. And so they haven't been built in the way that they were meant to be built. As you can see, there aren't kind of connector poles here. I've had to cable tie them together, which isn't ideal. But I'm really, really happy with how it looks. I think it's really practical. So far, all of my plants seem happy here. Obviously, it is just the grow lights I was using before, so actually not a lot has changed for them, but I feel like it just looks like a more organised planty space. I also really need to get into my prop boxes because it has been quite a long time since I've even opened the lid on these, and I can tell that there's lots of stuff in there that needs attention. So again, that is probably a job for next week. But what I am thinking is, obviously now I've got this space just here, in theory, this is where I'm thinking I could create some kind of isolation zone if I wanted to do some kind of like bigger boxes, like propagation boxes. I could create a little isolation zone or just extend my propagation area. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, this is what it is currently looking like. Okay, just a little update on the plant I'm working with, but the roots are looking okay. I'm just going to have a look at the ones from the plant swap and see if this even is rooted. I've assumed that it is, but it might not be. And if it's not, I might just kind of start them all from scratch and get them popping in water. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, okay, no, so it's not rooted and it's a little bit rotty in places, so I'm just going to give everything a bit of a trim back. But the next step after that was to create a decent working space for Ross, create a decent office space. And we've been looking at loads of desks and things online and trying to think like what would work, what would be practical. And honest to God, I swear the universe was on our side, because literally later that day, I got an email from a company called Flexispot who reached out to see if we'd like to try their Flexispot next generation standing desk E7 Pro. Oh my God, that's a mouthful, isn't it? But I'd seen these standing desks before and I think they are so cool. It basically just means that if you do a lot of work from a desk, working in front of a computer like Ross does, you don't have to be hunched over a laptop all day. You can stand up as well as sit down and just kind of adjust the desk to see what's right for you. Oh my God, that's so cool. It was actually really straightforward to put together. It didn't take us that long at all. And the thing that I really love about this is it's got this little magnetic panel that sits underneath it, basically meaning that all of your wires are contained and you don't have to see any of them. I don't know why, it's just a weird thing that I cannot stand. I really don't like looking at wires, so I will always try and find ways to cover them if I can. So this was fantastic. If you're tempted by a Flexispot desk yourself, then now's a pretty great time to do it, because they've got a huge Black Friday super sale on where you can get £300 off, as well as an early bird price between November the 13th and the 23rd. I'll put all the details for this along with a 10% discount code in the description box below. And thank you again, Flexispot, for sending us such an awesome desk. We literally love it so much. So yeah, Ross set that little corner up as, yes, his office space, but also just kind of like, I don't know, his little nerdy corner, like he's got his comic books over there. Oh my goodness, also I made the mistake of calling his comic books magazines. Honestly, I will never make that mistake again. He was not happy at all. But yeah, so he's got that little area, and also I think I mentioned a while back that Ross had actually bought himself a plant shelf, which obviously I am fully in support of. So he set that up next to his desk, and he's created a whole little zone where he's got loads of his plants, including this one that obviously was going a little bit, I say a little bit wrong, acclimating to the new space. But yeah, I will give you a little tour of that area so that you can see what he's got over there, see some of his plants. So this is Ross's plant shelf. Pick a couple of plants to tell us about, Ross.
Even more planty than the last time you saw this planty shelf.
It is, indeed.
What should we talk about? Some of these ones you see. This one's doing rather well, isn't it? This is my...
It's doing amazingly.
I call it the praying, clapping plant, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is Freddie, which
Freddie.
is doing really well. Remind me of the name.
Calathea.
Calathea.
Calathea ornata, to be precise.
Which is doing really well, and everyone said it might not, it would struggle, but I'm obviously a natural.
And you've got a cool new one, haven't you?
That Mark
kindly sent us.
Yes,
How
so Mark from the
cool is this
Eden
one?
Lab very kindly thought of Ross and sent this plant, and it's beautiful. It's a begonia. I can't remember the exact name, but I'll put it on the screen. But isn't it just stunning?
It is very cool and punky.
Yeah. And your whole shelf's looking really good.
There's been a little bit of
Acclamation drama.
death, hasn't there? There's like a couple of leaves, one of which I've actually hidden from this one, which is kind of gone. We used to have 5 leaves. It's gone down to 3, which is a real shame.
Alocasia capri, red secret though. I mean, this one can be quite temperamental anyway, and it's obviously transitioning to a new space. On the whole, I think they're doing really quite well. The Philodendron mexicanum down here is one that I need to take a look at because, as you can see, it's got a few funky leaves, and I have a feeling that might be root rot related. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, we need to get that one out, have a look at that. So that will be a job for later this week, I expect. But yeah,
Other than that, it seems like it's going okay.
It does, doesn't it? Woohoo! We also still haven't finished arranging the space behind the chest of drawers, but I'm thinking that that's going to make a really nice plant shelf as well. I say it's got really good natural light. Showing you it today, it's going to look dark and miserable because it is so rainy. But in general, that spot does have very good natural light. But also what I'm thinking is I could potentially run some grow lights under the shelf so that it can kind of just create a nice little planty space there. But the nice thing is that the majority of Ross's stuff is actually moved in now, and we've still actually got a load of space to play with because of all the space we've freed up by essentially creating a massive bunk bed. So yeah, I've got so many ideas that, again, I ambitiously thought that I could do in time for this video. I've got so many things that I'm thinking we could still do with the space. I'm thinking about, and I did mention this in another video the other day, I'm thinking about creating an isolation zone of some sort so that when I get new plants, or if I've got a plant that's got pests or something like that, I can essentially keep them away from the rest of my plants, because currently that's something that I'm just not easily able to do because I've got so many. I also really want to extend my propagation zone, as I said in that clip, because although I love it as it is, I would love to get more propagation boxes going and just kind of play about a little bit more with propagation and potentially kind of, I don't know, potentially experiment with some new things, but I will keep you updated with that. But I will give you a full walkthrough of the space in just one moment. I'm just gonna decide what I'm gonna do with Ross's plants here. So the little Tradescantia cuttings that I got from the plant swap, that he got from the plant swap, sorry, I think I'm gonna just pop these into water to let them root. I was hoping to get them all potted up today, but my only other option then is to get this one propagating again from scratch. And I think those roots are probably okay. So yeah, and I don't know a lot about, or I don't think I've experimented much with soil propagation in Tradescantia, so I'm gonna go water for these ones, and then I'm just gonna repot this one. But yeah, I will take you off the tripod and I will take you round next door and I will give you the full walkthrough, show you what everything's looking like.
Oh hi, you caught me looking at YouTube videos on the internet.
Cool, so let's have a final look at the room. Da, 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 da. So much space.
How good is this?
It's so nice, isn't it? We're thinking of maybe getting some bean bags or something and putting them on the floor so we've got a bit of fun space to be able to chill in that's technology free. And then the bit that I feel like, well, I was gonna say everyone wants to see, the bit that I'm excited to show is the bit up here. I'm gonna attempt to...
Where the magic happens.
It looks pretty magical at the moment. Should I put the lights on? No, let's leave the lights off. So there's still a little bit to be done up here, because obviously at the moment it's a little bit of a storage space. But look how cozy this is. We've made ourselves a little nest.
Okay, they're plant lovers. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Have a lovely day.
Have a lovely day.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.